What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs Kong discussion video. So I know there has been this wave of like, King Kong is gonna be the bad guy, Kong is gonna be the villain that Godzilla's gonna have to take down. You're gonna have to sit there and revel in Kong's defeat. D-Man, oh god, it's gonna be amazing. I know there's a lot of that. I'll do a full video all about that, and I'll actually do the opposite end of this too. I will help you guys. I will argue with you guys. I'm here to cover both sides of the debate. So today we are gonna be talking about Godzilla's potential of becoming a villain in Godzilla vs Kong, but like I said, I will cover the potential of Kong becoming a villain. I'll talk about that, all the evidence that doesn't support it, and then I will also do a video that talks about why I don't think Godzilla becoming a villain would necessarily be the greatest idea. But for this video, I think this is very likely. What I'm going to discuss in this video I think is very likely. I think it's a big possibility of Godzilla becoming the villain, right? And that's the thing that we'll discuss in that other video, is that when I say villain, I don't mean he's going to be a bad guy going like, oh well, I'm going to wipe out all of everywhere. I don't think he's going to become a villain. I think he's going to be pushed more into the Heisei incarnation of the character, where Godzilla wasn't a good guy, but he also wasn't a bad guy. I just think Godzilla is going to have some ambiguous crossing the line moments in Godzilla vs Kong, as I have talked about in previous videos. Like, this should be nothing new. If you guys watch my videos, you should know that I think Godzilla is going to cross a line. I don't think he's going to become a full-on bad guy though. So first off, you might be like, well, why does Godzilla even need to become a villain, D-Man? Like, what's the point? Why do we have to have that? Outside of the fact that I just think it's more interesting if Godzilla doesn't really like humanity, if Godzilla has conflict with us, I just find that to be more interesting than if Godzilla is here to protect us. Outside of that fact, I just think it needs to happen because Godzilla needs to fight Kong. The movie's called Godzilla vs Kong. That's the next one in the MonsterVerse. There has to be something that puts the two of these creatures in conflict with one another, and humanity might be the way to do that. They might say, oh well, because humans are the thing that Godzilla is going to turn on us, and then Kong is going to have to step in to stop him. It could be that. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is, but I'm thinking Godzilla is going to be pushed into more of a villainous role for the movie. That way they can have conflict and it's not two heroes fighting, because you have to have one of them be more in the right than the other. You can't have two good guys completely in the right the entire time fighting. It just won't work. So I think they're going to do something like that in Godzilla vs Kong with Godzilla, and the way I think you can easily be like, well, Godzilla's a bad guy, is by talking about Godzilla in the MonsterVerse. Let's run through his history and you'll see Godzilla's never been a hero. He has never been in the MonsterVerse. Alright, starting out, Godzilla fought ancient battles way before the dawn of existence. He was involved in ancient battles all throughout history. This continued throughout humanity's run. So Godzilla was just involved in all these big wars with these monsters. It was legendary. In 1943, Godzilla resurfaces for one reason or another and destroys the USS Lawton. Whether intentional or not, he destroys the Lawton and kills everybody but one person on board. That one person is Bill Randa. And yes, it is confirmed that Godzilla is the one that destroyed the Lawton. This is what spawns Truman into funding Monarch in the first place. In the 1940s and 50s, Godzilla hunts down a monster called Shinamura with a complete disregard for the damage he causes to local human villages. He doesn't really care if people get injured in the process, he's just out for blood. In 1954, the US military lures Godzilla onto an island and blows him up. I don't know if Godzilla actually cares about this, because this seems to just give him an energy boost if King of the Monsters is any indication, so he actually might not consider that to be a bad thing. He might not dislike nuclear bombs, but either way, humanity straight up tries to murder Godzilla and it doesn't work. Godzilla then resurfaces in 2014 after a long hibernation. He resurfaces once the Mutos awaken. Godzilla encounters the military at the Golden Gate Bridge during his hunt for the Mutos and is injured by them as they shoot him in the gills. That seems to be his weak spot. They shoot him in the gills. Godzilla is irritated by it. I don't know if I'd necessarily say injured, but he's irritated by it, and in retaliation he destroys the Golden Gate Bridge, or at least part of it, when he tries to get away from the military. Godzilla then goes and hunts down the Mutos and kills them, murdering thousands of innocent people in the process, including little Andrew Russell. Yes, Godzilla is the one who kills Andrew Russell. Godzilla kills quite a bit of people. I mean, I know he doesn't intentionally do it. It's not like he's hunting them down, but Godzilla still kills so many people during his battles. Godzilla then starts to hunt down the Muto Prime, which is freshly awakened. He gets into a little tussles with it and eventually kills it. In 2019, Godzilla pays a visit to Castle Bravo and destroys a bunch of their drones in the process. It is blatantly stated by Mark Russell, and Sarazawa, who studies Godzilla, agrees that Godzilla will full-on attack the outpost and kill everyone inside of it if they don't stop aiming their guns at Godzilla. Godzilla is seen as the aggressor in that scene. Godzilla has the power in his hands. Humanity may be the one provoking him, but at the end of the day, Godzilla still is fully ready to murder everybody on board. Godzilla then starts to hunt down Ghidorah across the world. He is killed by the oxygen destroyer and revived by Serizawa. His temple is destroyed in the process. Godzilla then fights alongside the military to defeat Ghidorah, and in the end, Godzilla starts to keep Titans at bay around the world after he claims his throne. So, is Godzilla a hero? It depends on who you ask. There's quite a bit of people that say yes, he is. I mean, he saved everyone in 2014 from the Mutos, he saved everyone from Ghidorah, and he keeps monsters at bay. When I say there's a fair amount of people, I mean in universe. There's a fair amount of people in universe who say, yeah, Godzilla's a good guy, he's helping us out. I don't know if it's necessarily that way. It doesn't really seem to me like he cares about humanity at all. He really just seems indifferent on them. He saves a whole bunch of people on accident. He's just doing this all for personal grudges. Godzilla has a personal grudge against Shinamura. He doesn't like the Mutos because of personal grudges. Muto Prime killed one of his ancestors, and even Ghidorah is his old rival. So Godzilla's really just out for personal grudges. The only heroic act he does is sending the other Titans away from cities, as seen in the credits for Godzilla King of the Monsters, which we're not even sure how big of a role that will play in Godzilla vs Kong. So yeah, he may be seen as a savior by some, but then there's a lot of other people who go, yeah, no, he murdered a lot of innocent people. He murdered Andrew Russell. He murdered a lot of innocent people that didn't deserve to die. He saves cities, but destroys them in the process. Is he really a hero? I don't think so. I think he's just out for personal grudges and trying to maintain that nature's balance. You know, it's not like he's doing it for us. He's not going, I'm gonna go stop Ghidorah so that he doesn't hurt humans. He's going to stop Ghidorah just because he doesn't like Ghidorah and because Ghidorah causes problems on Earth. He's going to stop the Mutos because he's worried that the Mutos are gonna become this invasive species that wipe every other species out, including humanity, but not limited to humanity. He doesn't care about us. Now, there are some personal interactions Godzilla has had between humanity and himself, but I don't think they're enough to say, oh yeah, he cares about us. He has a meaningful look with Ford Brody in Godzilla 2014, if you want to call it that. Kind of, I mean, he just looks at him. That's all there is to it. He just looks at Ford Brody. He notices him. And then he's revived by Serizawa. He certainly notices that. I don't know what he thinks of that because, you know, Serizawa destroys his temple in the process, the temple that Godzilla considered his home. I'm not sure he'll be 100% jazzed about that one, but he probably appreciates being revived. And then he 100% remembers Mark Russell once he resurfaces. He has a look with Mark Russell where he goes like, yeah, I kind of respect you, buddy. And then he goes off and swims to fight Ghidorah. So he has that personal interaction. That is the most personal interaction Godzilla has had for himself. I mean, Serizawa's interaction was the most personal in terms of someone actually touched him, but it doesn't mean as much to Godzilla as Godzilla sharing that look with Mark Russell. Dougherty confirmed that that look with Russell is something of mutual respect being achieved. Now let's talk about Godzilla's evil potential because I just do think there's a lot to support the fact that he could become evil. We'll go through it. Godzilla has a disregard for what gets destroyed in the process of his actions. He just doesn't care if he hurts us. He murders thousands of people in Hawaii when he surfaces. He wipes out that whole little town on the coast of Honolulu. He is completely indifferent to humanity in Godzilla Awakening, Godzilla 2014, and Godzilla Aftershock. He only has heroic traits in Godzilla King of the Monsters. He is viewed as the villain in Kong Skull Island by Bill Aranda, and he is viewed as a huge threat to the world by Houston Brooks. Like I said, King of the Monsters is the only thing in the MonsterVerse to treat Godzilla as a good guy. But even in King of the Monsters, Godzilla is fully willing to wipe out Monarch Outpost 54 when they have guns pointed at him, showing that if humans provoke him, he will attack us. I don't know why the masers make him so upset when a nuclear bomb doesn't. Again, it could just because a nuclear bomb fuels him up when masers are like, that shoots electricity and I don't like that. I don't know exactly why he decides that the masers is where he draws the line, but he still does draw the line because they are like, if we don't open the shields and turn those guns off, he's gonna kill us all. And then I think the most important line to come out of Godzilla King of the Monsters is one of the last lines spoken in the movie. It's a double line. It's split between two characters. One of the last lines in the movie is spoken by Rick Stanton when he says, oh Jesus, good thing he's on our side, after watching Godzilla claim the throne and kill Ghidorah. But the more interesting part of that is Dr. Eileen Chen's response when she says, for now. Godzilla's on our side for now. He's not on our side forever. That clearly sets up for the fact that he can shift in the future. And I know there is some other things in Godzilla King of the Monsters that are gonna contradict Godzilla becoming a villain. Like I said, I'll talk about that and I'll talk about how they could do it in the future. I will cover that, okay? I'm just saying that as of right now, for now is a big deal, okay? They didn't put that line in here for no reason. And Michael Dougherty has spoken about this in the past, and I think what Michael Dougherty has to say about Godzilla is incredibly interesting. I've covered this at all of his panels and all of his conventions in the past, but I'll reiterate it again here. Michael Dougherty says that Godzilla is not a hero. He is beyond the concept of good and bad. Godzilla isn't a hero at the moment. He just is. He is just there to do what he needs to do, maintain balance, but he's not doing it as a good guy. He's not doing it with heroic intent. Dougherty says that Godzilla tolerates humanity for now. As long as they don't pose a threat to the natural order, Godzilla will allow us to do our thing. The second we step out of line, he will stop us. Godzilla is not here to protect humanity. He is not here to fight other monsters for the sake of fighting other monsters. He is here to keep the balance of the world. And no matter what, whoever tips that balance out of favor, he is going to stop them. So that leads us to Godzilla's shift. What might shift Godzilla into being more of a bad guy in Godzilla vs Kong? And again, I say more of a bad guy. I'm not saying Godzilla is going to become the villain and just start wiping out humanity. I'm saying that there will probably be something that makes Godzilla do something questionable for the audience and for Kong that will put the two of them in conflict with each other, but still leave the door open for Godzilla to be a good guy in the future. And that shift could be the Oxygen Destroyer. That'd be a big opening for Godzilla. The Oxygen Destroyer is the perfect in-universe way to shift Godzilla and being more of a villain, as it is the only device that nearly kills him. It also nearly allows Ghidorah to wind up taking over the entire planet, so Godzilla has a reason to dislike humanity because he seemingly is smart enough to know that we're the ones who shot that at him. And even if he's not, he still is smart enough to know that the Oxygen Destroyer is what's been detonated all over the world, killing off massive whale populations, killing off lots of different species in the ocean, as seen in the opening of the movie. So he's going to be aware of that, and even if somehow he's still oblivious to it, the Oxygen Destroyer seemingly is still going to be used by the military. Stenz doesn't really say, oh yeah, we're just going to throw it to the side, especially after it nearly kills Godzilla. Stenz isn't going to be like, well, I mean, it almost worked, might as well stop developing the prototype before we can actually kill Godzilla. He's probably going to go, oh wow, it almost worked, great, let's just do it again. There is no reason for them not to use the Oxygen Destroyer in the future, and Godzilla won't appreciate that. A nuclear bomb may fuel Godzilla up, it may make him real jazzed up, so he may not hate us for that like the previous Godzillas in previous continuities did. But the Oxygen Destroyer, he probably doesn't enjoy that. It didn't feel good, it nearly killed him. The Oxygen Destroyer isn't going to make a return. It seems like the Orca might. The Orca has been hinted at returning, as seen in the credits for Godzilla King of the Monsters, and the Orca may be something that Godzilla dislikes as well. It does force the monsters to behave ways that they wouldn't behave before, and it does force monsters to turn on each other in ways that they shouldn't have. So Godzilla could be like, I don't think I like that, and then he could try and stop us from creating another one or stop us from using another one. And if none of that works, then the final one that they could do in universe is Biollante / Mechagodzilla. I'm not saying those characters are going to be what makes Godzilla a bad guy. I'm saying that the idea of them could make Godzilla a bad guy. As seen in the credits for Godzilla King of the Monsters, humanity is toying around with bio monsters and with cybernetic monsters. The idea of both of those have been introduced in the MonsterVerse now. From the news articles, Godzilla might not appreciate that. He might go, wow, you're playing with way too much power here. You're playing God and you really shouldn't. If we create our own monsters, Godzilla will probably intervene. And it also ties back to the redacted text seen in Godzilla King of the Monsters. The redacted text telling the story of how Titans turned on humanity once humanity started to use Titans for warfare. If we create our own monsters and utilize those in warfare, I don't think Godzilla is going to be too happy about that. Which leads us to nature's order. Godzilla steps out of line in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how. Again, I'm not saying he's going to go around trying to wipe out every human from the face of the earth, but I think he will do something questionable. That something questionable might be done on Skull Island. He might wind up hurting the Iwis in the process. He might do something that he shouldn't do, and that will lead Kong to try and stop Godzilla. Kong will become nature's order in that case. I don't know, I just think there's a huge potential for Godzilla to become a bad guy, and I know it doesn't feel right anymore because King of the Monsters really lays into the Godzilla as a good guy aspect, but if you really look at it, he's not. I mean, he's only helping himself. He's not doing it for humanity. He does help the other monsters in the process, the other Titans. So he's kind of doing it for everybody, but it's not like he's doing it for humans. He's not trying to help us out. That's the thing that I think a lot of people get confused on. They say, oh no, Godzilla is doing it because he likes us. I don't think he's doing it because he likes us. I don't think he cares. He's like, whatever, these guys try to kill me. Who cares about them? I just got to stop Ghidorah because it's Ghidorah. I don't know. We'll see. I will do 2 follow-ups for this. Like I said, I will do the argument for Godzilla to become a hero or for Godzilla to stay a hero, and then I will do a video all about Kong becoming a villain. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time. D-Man out.